Welcome back to the Alice Stewart Show on 96.5 The Voice.
Welcome back to the Alice Stewart Show, 7:06 here on Thursday, November 7th. And what a fine time of year to do a tour across the Arkansas, or specifically Congressional District Number 2, and that's exactly what Congressman Tim Griffin is doing. He is in the middle of his second District 24/7 tour. It's a series of 24 visits in 7 days to various communities, businesses, and organizations here in Central Arkansas. And here to talk about that is the Congressman himself, as well as one of the business owners who will be speaking or spoke with the Congressman. And I'm joined with Congressman Tim Griffin, as well as Bill Shroyer, who is the owner of Splash Pools and Spas in North Little Rock. Congressman and Mr. Shroyer, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congressman, first off, this tour, what's the purpose of it, and why is it important to do this and actually really meet with the people that you're representing?
Well, I do this sort of thing routinely, but it's normally, a mix of meeting in my office with folks and going and touring a new facility, and I thought we have a district work week this week, and I said to my staff, I said, don't we have a number of tours that people have asked us to go on or invited us to do that are getting sort of backlogged just because we missed a whole week of district work period during the recent unpleasantness, the shutdown. And I said, get that list, that Excel spreadsheet, and let's start knocking some of those out. And I wanted a little catchy name, and when you hear 24/7, you think of nonstop. And I said, well, let's get instead of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, let's pick 24 tours or so, tours, meetings, what have you, and let's do them over a 7-day period. Does that work? And so that's what we did. And I mean, we're touring. You name it, we're touring it. I started out Monday with the Lake Maumelle watershed and toured Benny Keith Food Distribution Facility, Southwest Power Pool, UAMS Wellness Center, spoke to a Cub Scout pack, Conway Lions Club, Delta Plastics Plant, Lamar Porter benefit for baseball field in Little Rock, of course, Splash SuperPools, Home Depot. We had a Veterans Advisory Committee meeting, tour to Walgreens, met with all the pharmacists, talked about pharmaceuticals, Skippy Peanut Butter Plant in Little Rock, believe it or not. That was an incredible tour. UAMS Radiology Department. Today I've got looks like another 5 stops. And so we're just full speed ahead, and the point is to get out and continue to know your constituents. What do they do? What are their needs? And what do they have to say to you, and what can you learn from them? And it's a pretty basic part of being a member of Congress, and we do this all the time. But cramming all these tours in 1 week, we thought made a nice theme. And I went out to Splash SuperPools. That's an LLC, and so that goes into my thinking as we do tax reform in the House Ways and Means Committee that deals with pass-through entities instead of some abstract idea of a business where people have good jobs. I have in my head, medium-size LLC in Little Rock. Well, I know one of those. I toured one of those. If I have any questions about that, I can call this particular person or that particular person. So, it's just part of staying in touch with the district, and so this is it's just been real helpful. I've done this. I did it even campaigning, but it's just part of an ongoing conversation, I think it's fair to say.
I want to ask one of the businesses that you visited yesterday was Splash SuperPools Unlimited in North Little Rock, and Bill Shroyer is the the owner of that business. And Mr. Shroyer, I know that clearly when you have people come and give the tour, you show them your facility and what you have to offer. But clearly, you have been outspoken on the Affordable Care Act and its impact. What kind of new information with the rollout of Obamacare did you feel was important to share with the congressman yesterday?
Well, actually, honestly, we didn't talk a lot about the Obamacare. Congressman Griffin was really interested in our operations and what we do, and I think he found that we actually are much more than just a swimming pool manufacturer. We actually manufacture a number of different products for different markets, including alternative energy products, that he was surprised that we did.
Yeah.
And, I don't think, did we talk much about it? Certainly.
We talked about it a little bit at the beginning. I think the reason I didn't bring it up a lot with you is I knew where you stood on it, and I think you know where I stand on it. And I think all the worst predictions are coming true. And I was just reading a Wall Street Journal editorial on it a minute ago, and what's the core problem, and I'd like to get your comment on this, Bill, but the core problem, it seems to me, is you have it's a top-down, Washington knows best, one-size-fits-all approach which is the way the federal government works generally, that basically says, look, we in Washington know what you ought to have, and we're going to tell you what you ought to have. We're going to make some decisions for you. We're going to limit your choices, and this is the way it's going to work. And all 50 states, this is what you got to do. And, oh, by the way, we're not going to really ask you what you think about it. And consequences be darned, this is what's going to happen, as opposed to a bottom-up, patient-centered approach. And that is exactly what we're seeing happen. Are there some people that are going to get insurance that didn't have it before? Yeah, there'll be some people you could find that benefit, but my point has been you could fix it for those folks without this takeover. There are many ways to reform health care. The idea that you got to do it Obamacare or nothing is just nonsense. And but it's a top-down deal, and that's why it's failing.
Mr. Shroyer, your thoughts on that and how this has impacted you, but the congressman's point of this being a top-down idea and concept and its impact on individuals, but also business owners like yourself.
Well, first of all, I completely agree with him, but I maybe take it a step further, and I'm not in Washington. I don't see the day-to-day things like he does, but I personally think there's I won't call it nefarious, but certainly a possible plan. The president has told us a number of times that he's in favor of a single-payer plan.
Yes, I agree with that.
The socialist countries have. And I'm not so sure they haven't sabotaged this thing on purpose to then say, well, then I guess we just need the government to take everything because these insurance companies are crooks. Look what they're doing. They're canceling all these policies and doing all these things, and the government really needs to be handling your health care.
Yeah, I would say I don't believe that they're intentionally sabotaging it, but I do believe single payer is something. What I agree with you on is that the president does favor a single payer system, but that's no secret. He has publicly said that. I think he said it during if I remember correctly, he said it during the 2008 campaign. And if I remember correctly, the House version that Nancy Pelosi drove through that did not ultimately become law, but I believe that it was it had a single payer component to it, a public option. But in any event, I do think that whether it's intentional the way Bill thinks or whether it's just complete incompetence, which is what I think, I do think it moves us toward a single payer because the private market is shrinking.
All right, and one last question, Congressman. I know you have to go. We're going to keep Mr. Shroyer around for one more segment. But, Congressman, the word out of Washington and Kathleen Sebelius is things will be, at least on healthcare.gov, up and running by the end of November, and things will move full speed ahead. How likely do you see that being? And if not, should they delay it?
Well, look, I've said it ought to be delayed. I'd like to see it repealed, but I had a bill to delay the employer mandate last summer, and my colleague in Ways and Means of Indiana had a delay bill for the individual mandate. We may end up getting a delay in the end. It's such a disaster. I don't know what's going to happen with the website. To be honest, I don't think they know what's going to happen with the website. And ultimately, I think they'll get the website fixed. But this is not about the website. The website is part of it, but the website is just a symptom of a bigger problem. They'll get the website fixed at some point, and it'll still be the disaster that it is because of what I've said. This is a Washington knows best for you, top-down, one-size-fits-all approach, and it is destined to fail. Right. We need healthcare reform desperately, but this is not the kind we need. There are lots of other options for healthcare reform, and we ought to be pursuing them. But anyway.
All right, Congressman Tim Griffin, we know you have to run. We appreciate your time this morning. I know you have to several more businesses and cities you have to hit. Congressman Griffin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it very much.
All right, have a great day.
I appreciate your coming out to the plant.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Mr. Shroyer will join us after the break with more on the Obamacare rollout and the impact on people and businesses in Arkansas. We'll be back after this on the Alice Stewart Show.
The Alice Stewart Show on 96.5 The Voice.
Well, yeah, it's fine if you got